Have you ever stopped to wonder why the stories of the saints continue to fascinate and inspire millions of people around the world even after centuries? What is it about these extraordinary lives, marked by such faith and courage, that remain so alive and relevant in our time? The answer lies in the deep humanity we find in the saints and in the timeless lessons they left us. Sainthood is not just a religious title granted by the Church. It's a state of spirit, a way of living guided by solid principles such as compassion, courage, faith, and hope. Throughout history, men and women from different cultures, times, and backgrounds were elevated to sainthood precisely because of their inspiring lives and the impact they had on their communities, and often on the entire world. Think, for example, of Saint Francis of Assisi. His life was marked by radical simplicity, unconditional love for the poor, and profound respect for creation. Centuries later, his legacy continues to influence ecological and social movements across the planet. Likewise, Mother Teresa of Calcutta dedicated her life to caring for the most vulnerable and abandoned. Her work lives on in the hands of those who now follow her path in humanitarian missions around the world. But saints are not just distant figures from the past, preserved in stained glass and ancient paintings. They are people whose stories transcend temporal and cultural boundaries, offering a powerful light that guides us in times of hardship and uncertainty. Saint John Paul II, for example, is remembered not only for his religious leadership, but also for how he navigated complex historical challenges, promoting peace and encouraging dialogue among different cultures and religions. These stories are not meant for passive admiration, but are direct invitations for each of us to reflect on how we can apply these same principles to our daily lives. What virtues of the saints can we cultivate? How can we transform their lessons into practical actions that improve our lives and the lives of those around us? When we look at the saints' journeys, we realize that many of them faced challenges incredibly similar to our own: wars, social injustices, personal doubts, and existential crises. In modern times, when life's fast pace often distances us from what truly matters, the saints teach us the importance of pausing, reflecting, praying, and above all, serving others. The wisdom that flows from these stories is not confined to religious contexts. It is profoundly human. It teaches us that it is possible to live with purpose, regardless of the difficulties we face. Sainte Thérèse of Lisieux, for instance, discovered in the simplicity of daily acts a powerful path to holiness, reminding us that we don't need to perform grand heroic deeds to transform the world around us. Now, as we contemplate the journey of these saints, it becomes clear that their lives continue to shape our worldview, encouraging us to grow in our humanity. They challenge our prejudices, expand our capacity for empathy, and teach us that we all have the potential to make a difference. At the heart of the saints' journey lies something that deeply echoes within us, the transformative power of virtue lived authentically. As we observe their stories, we see that it's not just about miracles or extraordinary gifts, but about the constant choice to love, even when the world offers reasons to give up. The life of Saint Gianna Beretta Molla is a profound example. A doctor, mother, and deeply devoted woman, she chose to give her life for her child, refusing a treatment that would save her but endanger her baby. Her decision was not made on impulse, but stemmed from a love that transcends ordinary understanding. She teaches us that holiness can be found in motherhood, in medicine, in the silent sacrifice made for someone we love. Saint Maximilian Kolbe, on the other hand, gave his life in place of another prisoner at a Nazi concentration camp. In a place of absolute darkness, he chose to be light. His act was not only heroic, it was deeply spiritual, reminding us that even in the darkest moments of humanity, compassion can still flourish. These saints did not run from the world's pain. They faced it head-on, with hearts rooted in God and eyes turned toward the good of others. They show us that being holy doesn't mean escaping reality, but plunging into it with courage, love, and faith. And maybe this is the great lesson we need to rediscover in our time, that true greatness isn't about ruling, but serving, that the real miracle lies in forgiving when we've been hurt, in persisting when everything tells us to stop, in keeping hope alive when despair knocks at the door. Looking at the saints, we see we are not alone in our struggles. They too faced doubts, temptations, injustices, persecutions. But what set them apart was the choice to keep going, even when the path seemed impossible. This gives us strength to believe that we too can move forward, sometimes stumbling, but always with our eyes fixed on God. Now I want to ask you something special. If this message is touching your heart, if any part of the life of these saints resonates with your own story, why not share that with us? Subscribe to the channel so we can continue this journey together. And more than that, comment below. Tell me which virtue you would like to cultivate more in your life. It might be patience, generosity, courage, or perhaps humility. This conversation only makes sense if it's shared. When you leave a comment or share your story, you inspire others too. And who knows, with this small act you may already be building your own legacy of faith. And when we look at the world today, we see that the legacy of the saints lives on in so many subtle, invisible ways, deeply felt in the heart, though unnoticed by the eyes. It lives in the nurse who continues to care with tenderness, even after an exhausting shift. In the father who doesn't give up on his child, even in hardship. In the elderly woman praying alone for her family. In the young people who, even under pressure, choose to be a light where others remain silent. The spirit of sainthood manifests in the streets, in homes, in schools and hospitals. It breathes in the art that uplifts, the music that comforts, the words that heal. The saints continue to shape our world through all those who dare to love without measure. They remind us that faith is not limited to temple walls. It spreads through every sincere act of goodness. Look at the impact they had, not just within the church, but in social, cultural, and even political movements. Many of them inspired reforms, inclusion of the marginalized, and defense of human dignity. How many schools, hospitals, orphanages, and shelters were born from their witness and work? In many ways, the world is a better place because of them. But there is still much to be done. And that's where you come in. Because the legacy of the saints continues only if there are hearts willing to hear it and hands willing to live it. They began the story, but we are the continuation. So may this reflection not end here. May it bloom within you and bear fruit on your path. May you find a saint to call your friend, your guide, your inspiration. And may you discover with gentleness that heaven draws near when we choose love as our way. And before you go, I want to ask from the bottom of my heart, if this video spoke to you, if something touched your soul, please subscribe to the channel. Here, every story, every reflection, every message is created with love to nourish your faith. And tell us in the comments which saint's story touched you the most, or how has their faith helped you in a difficult time. Your story can brighten someone else's. Your testimony might be the answer someone's been waiting for. And together, as one great faith community, we carry on this legacy of hope, courage, and love. Thank you for being here. May God bless you abundantly. And may the saints walk beside you, inspiring your steps and strengthening your soul.